My name is Gia Dingman, and I'm part of the Quote Wizard Agents Education team. Quote Wizard supplies high intent leads and calls to captive and independent agents. Few housekeeping notes. We will be sending this recording from today in the next week or so, and I will be sharing all of Jeff's contact info. So don't worry, you'll get all of that. Jeff Sophiea is a partner and senior sales executive. Sorry, you guys, we were talking about his last name. Just so everyone knows, Sophiea. He is a senior sales executive at Idealtraits. He spent the past decade helping insurance agents nationwide hire smarter and build high-performing teams. With over 5,000 small business owners and franchises served, Jeff delivers modern recruiting strategies that drive business growth. His efforts have generated over $7 million in revenue, and it contributes to Idealtraits' position as an industry leader. Jeff is a very sought after speaker. He's regularly presenting at conferences, and we're really lucky to have him today. So thank you so much, Jeff, whenever you're ready.
Gina, you're the real hero. I appreciate you having me and talking me up there. I'm humbled and honored to be on the call, and I think what you and Kelsey got going on at Quote Wizard is awesome. The education and obviously how you help agencies grow. I really appreciate what you do for my clients. So appreciate you having me. And as she mentioned, my name is Jeff Sophiea. Half my family says Sophiea. I know it's easier to say, so you can say that too. But I'm one of the partners here. I've been working here for 10 years. And I joined when there was like a startup, when we just had a couple employees. Now we have close to 40 employees, and we have over 18,000 insurance agents using us. 99% of our customers are insurance agents. So if there's one thing we're good at, it's helping insurance agents hire staff. That's all there is to it, right? When it comes to how to recruit them, how to find them, but then also how to identify them and how to retain them. I mean, we can give you advice on all that. So I'll share my meeting link in here so you guys can schedule a call whenever you'd like. Yeah, I mean, I love what I do. I have turned connections into friendships. I think insurance agents are awesome. I think you kind of have to be if you want to be a good insurance agent, because you got to have some kind of a good personality. I think selling insurance can get, as we all know, a little boring. So we got to make sure that we express our personalities, right? Hence the name Idealtraits. I'm going to show you how we can help, of course, but this is all going to be education, right? If you want to sign up for Idealtraits, great. We'd love to have you join the family. If you're already a customer, great. But one of the most common things I've been hearing in the last probably 1 to 2 years, I'm on the phone or I'm at an event talking to an agent, and at least once a day, an agent tells me, Jeff, I can't find someone who wants to work. No one wants to work. I can't find people that want to work, right? And although I understand, I probably can relate to that too. Like, I've seen that, the job market has changed, and we got to be better at recruiting. We got to understand the trends. We got to get more creative. We got to invest more money. I don't think, a lot of people want to hear that when it comes to recruiting, but you got to invest more money, and you got to have a process. So we're going to go over all that today. I'm going to give you the breakdown on how to not only find and hire good talent, but how to help keep them. And this is based on all the data and research we've collected over Idealtraits, but also all the feedback we get from the most successful agencies out there in different carriers. We're partnered with Farmers, we're partnered with Allstate, we're partnered with Geico, we're partnered with AAA, Safeco, you name it. We're probably partnered with that carrier. So we get the reports and we can see the agents that are top in the country using it that have success with hiring, and we get this feedback and we can share it with you instead of you having to go and collect all that information yourself. So if you want to hold on to my contact information, go right ahead. I'm also going to offer a couple discounts at the end of this webinar, but it's in the bottom left, jeff@idealtraits.com, and there's my cell. First thing we are going to do to attract the right candidate, okay? We're obviously going to build a job ad. We want our own career page to go out to multiple different job sources. I like to tell my agents, always have something going throughout the year. Always be accepting resumes. Maybe if you're someone who doesn't want to always be hiring, just accept resumes. You never know when someone good's going to apply. I think of real life. You never know when something really good's going to happen to you, and it's usually when you're not looking for it. right? So that's why I tell my agents, like, always have something out there. And we want to write a really attractive and transparent job description. How do you have a balance? You don't want it so transparent that it's boring, flat, but you need it to be also transparent enough to have a quality interview. And it's not misleading to the candidate, but it needs to be attractive to get the good people, right? So here's what I want you thinking of: culture, career opportunity, compensation. Okay. Here's a chart. This chart, like I mentioned, we collect a lot of data over here at Idealtraits, and we can see what makes good candidates apply, turn into employees. What do they want to see? Okay. So we know the job ads that work really well, but we also know the job ads that don't work really well. So what we've seen is the top priorities for insurance sales or account managers, right? What they're looking for are the three C's: culture, career opportunity, and compensation. With that, obviously, remote flexibility and remote, work-life balance, remote. 63% of candidates want either fully remote or hybrid. And I have an awesome video to share with you. If you're someone who has tried remote, it hasn't worked, or you're looking to get into hiring remote, awesome video. If you give me your email, I can send it to you for free. Also, quality leads. Agents will tell me they invest in leads or they have a great reputation where they get a lot of referrals, but then on the job ad, a candidate doesn't see that. So remember, if you're talking about really quality candidates you want, make your ads look good. Brag about yourself. If you don't want to brag about yourself, ask your top employees why they like working for you. They're going to give you some good reasons, and you're going to put that on the job ad, okay? Here's another chart I wanted to share with you because this definitely stuck out to me. Behind dental, insurance is the most competitive job market right now, okay? So what does that mean to all you agents, the 100 or couple hundred on this webinar today? It means, one, we got to have a recruiting budget. We just do. When I ask an agent, and they say, hey, I really want someone good. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, how much do you spend on the job boards or like on your recruiting budget, right? And like bringing people in. They're like, oh, I don't spend anything. I just use referrals. We got to take a second and think about, yeah, we have a marketing budget to get internet leads, of course. We want to use Quote Wizard, and we want to have whatever mailers or whatever systems you got going on. But think about on the recruitment end, I just want you to consider, if you don't have the good people in that position to work those leads, what do we have, right? So if you could just think about, whether you use Idealtraits or not, a recruitment budget in the beginning of each year. Make a recruitment budget because that's going to go a long way. The second thing I want you to consider when you look at this graph is, since the job market is more competitive, we can't have job ads looking like this, okay? There's a lot here. It's too much tuna, right? If it's a sales candidate and they look at this, they're not reading the whole thing, not even close. You're making the ad not mobile friendly. Over 82% of candidates are applying on their phones, so this ad would just go lower on the listing. Plus, there's nothing here that really sticks out for someone to want to apply. There's no benefits or perks listed, right? The salary range is 20 to 150 grand. That signals multi-level marketing. So when you guys are creating ads, make sure you put a $20,000 range. Okay. And I'm going to show you some strategies on how to make it more attractive, because I know limiting it to 20,000 is kind of tough to do. Here's another live example. My friend, I can call him my friend now. 2.5 months ago, he calls me. His name is Jimmy. He's from Alabama. He's like, Jeffrey, I ain't getting any candidates applying on the job ad. And it is great, right? I mean, he's got an awesome Southern accent. I just butchered that, but a really cool guy. And he signed up with Idealtraits, and I asked him if he wanted us to create the ad or he should create the ad. Does he want to? And he said, oh, how hard could it be? I can create it myself, right? Well, little did Jimmy know, like, shoot, my ad doesn't look good, right? And so our team, I said, Jimmy, it has everything to do with the ad. Do you mind if we create it for you and hop you on a different package? And he's like, by all means, I need someone soon, right? Well, our team took it over. We created an ad, and turns out he hired someone 3 weeks later, and the person's still with him. So that's a perfect example where it does come down to like the marketing the job ad itself. This is just too short. There's nothing to learn here. Okay. And I'm not saying you guys create an ad like this, but it's just an example. Here's the steps I want you to take when it comes to creating job ads. All right. 3 paragraphs. First paragraph, you're going to talk about the vision or company culture. Vision or company culture. Okay. But at the end of the first paragraph, I want you to have a sentence that includes at least 1 or 2 benefits or perks that you feel like stand out. You're going to put it in bold. Okay. Have it stand out. I mean, with us, we offer limited PTO. We changed to that 2 years ago, and we used to be like 5 to 10 days, right? So it was a big step for us. Unlimited PTO has been a game changer. A lot of people we've hired have said one of the big reasons they work here and are still working here is because of unlimited PTO. And get this, we've actually had less people requesting PTO than before. I think people just like to see the freedom and like the fact that, hey, they're willing to reward good effort. And if their numbers are high, they can take a vacation when they want and maybe still work remote. Just a perk that we do. It can be anything that you offer that stands out from your competition. And we can give you job market research and tell you what other people are offering. But something that stands out. Second paragraph. This gets back to what I was saying earlier. You definitely need a $20,000 range because that's what the job boards want. So I recommend, what is the lowest amount for a salesperson that they're going to make after 1 year with you? They're probably not just going to make 30 grand. Because if that includes salary, commission, and bonuses, let's be honest, they're going to fire themselves. They're not going to work for you. 40 grand, probably not. I would say, 45, 50. I would go a little bit more, maybe even like 55 to 75. But then on the last line of this paragraph, I want you talking about what they potentially could make. Be real with them. If you had someone make over 100 grand in a year, absolutely put that. But if you haven't, and you haven't had someone make over even 80 grand, be transparent and tell them this is what you predict, or this is what we've seen in the industry, right? Or you can even lay out after year 1, after year 2, after year 3, based on what our expectations are, or, with our training and help and lead flow, here's what we expect you to make. Give that vision, because licensed candidates for sure want to see something like that. But the people outside the industry, some of them have no clue. They know it's a sales job, but how do they make money? Right? So I want you guys explaining that, because once you lay it out, it makes things so much easier. It makes it more attractive and then more transparent come job interview time. Okay. Last paragraph, call to action. If you're looking for someone already licensed, I want you given a perk or 2 of why they should come to your office, and maybe even offer a signing bonus after a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day probation period. I see that works really well. You can basically just take the amount of money that you would have spent on pre-licensing, maybe paying for their exam, all the time and energy you invested, and you could have just, used that money and give them a signing bonus. And that's going to maybe be a cherry on top for that licensed candidate. Okay. Now, if they're not licensed, but you're willing to train someone, I have a lot of agents that prefer them to be licensed, but some of them are even like, I don't want someone licensed. They come in with bad habits. They come in from State Farm and they think, they know what they're doing and they don't. Or they come in from another company and they do this and they tell me this, right? So if they're not licensed, let them know that no license is required to start, or lay out how you're going to help them train. Like this, we provide the tools and resources needed for success. If you're looking rewarding for career with amazing potential, apply today. It could be something short and sweet like that, right? But let them know you will help them. I've told some agents to do this, and it's worked really well, where, they're not licensed. You don't put them on the payroll until they get licensed. But in the meantime, pay them the candidate $10, $15 every time they get a deck page that they bring in. And that helps actually incentivize them. It gets them excited, because the deck pages are going to be their leads once they start working for you day 1 on the job. So you've paid them, let's just say they brought in 30 deck pages, you paid them over $300, just a quick check while they're getting licensed. And now they have a stack of deck pages and they're not wasting your leads. Just a thought to consider. It's worked really well. All right, so this is a free benchmark report. What this does is gives you a free analysis of your competition. So what I'm going to do, I have two people here. It's me and myself and another person right here. And they're going to actually do a full benchmark report for you. They're going to send you an email within the next 20 to 30 minutes. If you scan this QR code, they're going to, you just fill out a couple sections. You'll fill out your name, email, select the position you're recruiting for, select your zip code, and then they're going to give you a benchmark report of what's going on in your area. It's usually pretty accurate information. It'll talk about the culture, the benefits being offered, the perks, the salary range, right? The commission structure. So it's a whole PowerPoint slide. And yes, we use a little bit of AI. So that'll get sent to you. It's completely free. Just scan this QR code, and it'll get sent over to you, like I said, probably in the next 15, 20 minutes. All right. Career page. So every time, like with Idealtraits, that you post an ad, you'll have your own career page that you can share with other people. I would say if you don't have like a landing page for people to go to, like on your website, for example, or on social media, you might be missing out on some good candidates. And it's nice because if it's referrals, I hear this all the time. Hey, I'm not going to use Idealtraits. I'm not going to use this company because I do word of mouth. I think word of mouth is amazing, but with word of mouth, sometimes we interview or hire people that we don't want, right? Like we might have emotional hires, like if it's family members or clients, right? I think some people on here might have experience where it worked out bad. I think you should interview anyone, but I absolutely think you should have a process in place and have something that stands out and put the ball in your court. Like let them know, like, hey, I mean business. Here's my career opportunity. Take a look at my ad. If you're serious, apply. We will send you an assessment right away to take. I don't care if it's your sister, brother. I don't care if it's a complete stranger. It's your business. You're not running a nonprofit. You got to remember that. You're not giving handouts. So why in a hiring process are we not taking every candidate and treating every candidate the same? It's a good thing to think about, right? It just ends up costing us money if we do that. So this gives you an example of what an ad would look like mobile on the mobile friendly side. Now we talked about how we're going to attract those hard workers, right? But now we have the candidate, right? And we know that, let's just say you get a lot of candidates that apply, but not all of them are hard workers, right? And even if you create the best ad in the world, whether it's through Idealtraits or something else, you'll still get bad candidates. We can't control who applies. It's got to be EEOC compliant. So how do you identify red flags quickly so that you're spending more time with those hard workers, those quality A players, and less with the candidates who don't match what you're looking for? Of course, the first thing is, you got to look at that resume. If there's a huge gap, 2 or 3 year gap, we got some questions, right? When it comes to Idealtraits assessment, the first red flag I see, and by the way, this is what it would look like when a candidate's taking it. It'll look like your assessment. It's not going to look like ours. So it's branded to you. It'll have your logo in the top left and whatnot. But if they don't take the assessment, that's the first red flag. And if they do take the assessment, I want to see that they come back with the result that we're looking for. Okay. So the reason I'm really cautious if they don't take the assessment is because how do I know they're even going to show up to the interview? They can't spend the time taking that assessment and doing the first task. They're not invested yet. I want to see that they're invested. And in terms of the assessment, it's like the way I think of it, I'm a huge football fan. I mean, if I put an offensive lineman in a running back position and then put the running back in the offensive lineman position, the team's not going to do very well on offense, right? It's the same thing with sales and service. If we put a person who's more sales driven in a service role, that person's going to get bored and not want to work for you anymore, right? Or mess up on a lot of the paperwork. But on the flip side, a customer service person in a sales role, they're not going to be aggressive enough. They're not going to want to ask for the sale. They're not going to do well with rejection. So like a knowledgeable here, this is assessment score we want for a CSR position, not a sales position. So my buddy Nick Saka, he's a big all-time or all-state agent. He came back as a salesperson on this assessment. And he'd be the first one to admit, like, hey, I have high motivation, high persuasiveness, but I hire people to do all the paperwork and the task-oriented stuff and the processes. Like, I don't like doing that. He likes managing, leading, coaching, selling, right? Marketing. He's huge on social media. He's a agency owner in Nevada. But yeah, I mean, the assessment, what you got to know is it's just going to help you give you confidence and know who's the right person for the position. Okay. Second thing, problem solving. I get asked this all the time. What do I recommend seeing? I want an 8 or higher. 8.7 is the average score. There's 8 easy questions here, I would say. Some people are more stingy. Some of my buddies, I know, like I got one of my good buddies, Vlad Chichenko, Jeremy Olson. I mean, these guys usually want higher scores, like I feel like 11, 12. People have been using us for a while, are very stingy. And some of them like the problem solving even more than the personality. I'm a little less strict. I want to see an 8 or higher here. If they're getting a 2, that's a red flag because here's the thing. I'm going to tell you this right now. They can Google the answers. They could use AI to just Google the answers, right? So it also shows me that they're not resourceful. They don't care enough, right? Or they're just really bad with problem solving. And let's be honest, in the insurance industry, you don't got to be a mathematical whiz, right? But you do got to have some outside the box thinking skills, right? You can't be very low in the cognitive end, or they're going to keep asking you the same question every day that you don't have time to keep answering every day. Last thing here, short answer sections look sad, okay? There's 5 questions at the end that you can ask them or use our questions. I used to be more lenient because I'm a bad speller, I'm bad with grammar. But there's a thing called ChatGPT, and wouldn't you think that if someone's trying to impress you for a job, that they're going to have good punctuation, good grammar, right? Why wouldn't they just copy and paste it into ChatGPT real quick or on Google, and it will just come up with a better response they can copy and paste? Again, we want to see that this person actually means business. And if they're sending out emails, day 35 on the job, well, if they can't make this look good, what does that tell you, right? So I look for a few sentences here, and I want to see good grammar. I want to see good punctuation, but I also want to see them brag about some stuff. I like asking them what would interest you about the position offered, and I like asking them behavioral questions, right? Like, how much did you generate in your last sales job, right? What was your best month? Walk me through that story. Last step, poor video interview. I'm not sure you're going to be able to hear this, but I had a candidate. Hey, Ma,
they're asking me why.
And I'll just let you hear it for a sec.
Why insurance? I think the question is why Craig? I mean, I don't need the insurance industry. I think that the insurance industry needs me. I think I'm a great candidate. I am trying to get paid. I mean, at the end of the day, I write my own story. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm not sure you can hear it, but this candidate was not dressed up professionally, and he was very arrogant and very full of himself. And although I like confidence for the sales position, I didn't want to hire him, right? I would have brought him in for the interview because the assessment looked good and his resume looked good. But I mean, it was kind of a joke almost, the video interview. And so I immediately moved on, and I'm glad I did because that saved us so much time. All right. The one-way video interview, it's a recording that they do through Idealtraits. So they just record themselves and they send it back. Okay. So he had a lot of red flags. This is my friend Alex. She's also an agent. I just had her do an example. She did a very good video interview of what attracted her to the sales position. And she talked about, how much she's motivated by making good money and also by protecting families, right? She basically said everything we wanted to hear. So I look that they're dressed professional, first off. I want to see that they're confident. I want to see that their presentation skills are pretty good. And I want to see, that there's some voice inflection or at least enough to like convince us that they'd be a good fit. Okay. They can't sound boring, right? On the video interview. If they're in their pajamas, that could be a red flag to you, right? I mean, I've had some crazy stories, but I tell you what, even the craziest story I'm grateful for because it saved me time instead of scheduling a 30 minute to an hour long interview. Okay. And the last thing is poor references, right? Poor references is another red flag. Okay. So now we talked about attracting the right people, the hard workers. We talked about how to identify the red flags more quickly for the candidates because there's going to be so many candidates maybe applying. We don't know which ones are going to be good and which ones aren't. And the red flags, how to identify those, the quicker, the better, is going to allow us to then interview the right people. So how do we screen for work ethic and drive? The assessment might be able to do that a little bit, but it's not going to be able to really tell you their work ethic. And same with a resume. In fact, I feel like if they put they're a hard worker on a resume, I've seen that they're not hard workers. Okay. So definitely you want to be asking behavioral questions, right? You want to try to predict their future performance. Behavioral questions are absolutely the way to go. And at Idealtraits, we have a ton of interview questions you can ask, okay? You want to assess past performance, and you want to use work samples or trial tasks. Guys, I am obsessed with this interview guide, all right? I spoke next to one of my buddies and clients of mine, Bo Vincent. He's a top Allstate agent in the country. He also does coaching for independent and captive agents out there. So I can't take credit for this, but he used some of our information and he put together a interview guide. There's a couple of reasons I love this. Not only is it EOC compliant, so you can't get in trouble for any of these questions you ask, but they're all behavioral questions. And if you notice, it breaks down that culture, compensation, and career development. The 3 C's we talked about in the beginning of the presentation. So there's an angle, there's a reason why we ask these questions. And because we want to get a certain outcome. We want to be able to sense their body language, see if they're serious, right? So if you want a copy of this interview guide, I've gotten great feedback from everyone who's used it. Put your email in and just tell me that you want it, and I'll have probably Ashley from our team send you a copy. Either email me, jeff@idealtraits.com. I've already seen a lot of people put their emails in, or put your email in too, because I'll send you this interview guide. This is mainly for insurance sales, though. It's not customer service one. This is for mainly insurance sales. All right. All right. So now you hired them, right? You've attracted them, the hard workers. We know how to build a good job ad now. We know how to identify red flags early. That's what we want to do. We want to identify the red flags early. We know how to screen for work ethic in the interviews by asking the right questions. And now we need to build a culture that retains the hard workers, because that's step 4. Now that you've found the person, you hired them, woo! We got like an A player. How are we keeping them? And this one's more obvious, but seriously, how do we recognize and reward effort? Okay. I get back to the assessment result. I love them so much because it actually helps our team know how, every assessment personality is different. So some people are motivated by different stuff. Okay. So how do you make employees feel engaged when they feel valued? And if you don't mind, maybe put an example in the chat so we can all learn from this. Every speaking session I go to, this is just a great exercise where people talk about, hey, here's how I reward great staff. I buy them tickets to the local ballpark game, right? And my team loves it, and they take pictures, they put it on social media, and now more people want to work at our office. How do you recognize and reward effort? If you don't mind putting it in the chat and talking about what you do, I think we can all learn from it. Offering growth opportunities, okay? Some of you are captive, right? So if you're with Farmers, you have the Protege program. If you're with State Farm, you have the Agent Aspirant program. You definitely want to be talking about that. If you believe in those programs, I know I do. I've seen how successful they've been. But you definitely want to be talking about that in the interviews and the job postings. If you're independent, or maybe with a company that doesn't have their own like aspirant apprenticeship program, I want you to think about creating your own name, your own program. It adds so much, I want to say coolness, so much professionalism, so much, you just become more attractive. Because think about candidates nowadays. I think some of us get annoyed by it, that everyone wants to be the CEO of a company right out of college, right? But there's truth to that. A lot of people are entrepreneurial. More and more people are, because there's so many ways of owning your own business, right? E-commerce, social media. I mean, so many more people can become entrepreneurs. But with owning an insurance office, you don't have to go get a degree, right? You just got to go get licensed and have good leadership skills and have the liquid capital to open up an agency. And you guys can mentor those individuals, right? And I know there's way more to it, but think about having your own apprenticeship program. Okay. It helps attract more people. If you put it on the job ad saying, hey, the Bill Jones or the Rebecca Smith apprenticeship program, click apply and learn more, right? Or lay out what that means. It really creates that sense of urgency for the candidate to just want to learn more because a lot of them want to be mentored. They want to know how to work their way up. Okay. Lastly, I think we're all sometimes at fault of this. We keep a low performer on too long. Okay. Not only could it hurt morale in the office, but what is that person taking up in that position? Who could be more profitable in that position? And that's again why like Ideal Traits, what I'm going to show you is we're always telling you to like look for good people because we don't want you to get stressed out and just say, I hired them and I don't really want to go back to the hiring process. So I really just hope they work out. Gina's an amazing employee, but I'm going to pick on her real quick. Let's just say it was Gina who was slacking. And that the agency owner's just like, all right, well, she hasn't been good the last 2 months and she hasn't really shown up the last 2 days, but I don't really want to get the ball rolling yet on hiring someone new. So, you know what? Let's just see if she steps it up soon. I know you guys don't do that. I hope you don't. But just think about it. Your mindset, right? When you only hire when you want to or need to, it's like going to the grocery store only when you're hungry. You make mistakes. Or it's like trying to invest in the stock market only when the market's low. If you do that, amazing. Tell me your secrets. But it's really hard to do. And that's why, people that talk about investments, I'm no financial advisor, but it's always good to invest every month because you never know. But it's sooner or later going to go up. However, when it comes to hiring, you never know when someone good's going to come in. And typically it's when you least expect it. So that's why always accepting resumes and keeping an insurance policy on your staff is going to help you remove low performers so much quicker. It just will. I've been in this industry for a long time, and I can tell you the people that are always hiring or always looking, they typically have low performers, but they're stressed out and they don't want to start the ball all over again, right? Or they don't want to admit it, right? It's costing them money, but they don't want to get rid of that person. So if you have Ideal Traits already, we do have a program that you can add on. It's called a virtual hiring assistant. Okay. It's $5.99 a month. What that would do is it allows you to have a virtual hiring assistant where everything I just showed you today, we basically do for you. We're going to help you build a good job ad after we do some market research for you. We're going to help you identify red flags quicker. We're going to contact the candidates right away. Text them, call them, unless it's the weekend, right? Think about with you guys, good candidates that apply, how quickly are you reaching out? It's kind of like an internet lead. And if I asked you, between an insurance proposal, insurance quote, or a fire you got to put out at the office or calling a candidate, what are you going to prioritize out of those three? You're probably going to tell me calling a candidate is the last on your list. But then you might say, hey, I really need someone good. Well, we're going to do the steps it takes to help you find someone good, giving you a better chance. So we came out with this program because, we felt bad for those agents that didn't have the time or expertise, right? They could use our platform all they want, but if they didn't invest enough time, maybe they're not going to get the same results that they're looking for. That's where we come in. So since you're on this webinar, I can take $300 off of this startup fee, right? And then your monthly cost would just be $5.99 per month. You can cancel anytime, all right? You do have to have an Ideal Traits account. So let me show you what that looks like real quick so you have an understanding. If you go to our main site, we're going to do some Q&A right after this. So I know we have a ton of questions come in. I don't know if we're going to be able to get to all of them. So for those of you who don't have an Ideal Traits account, you can sign up. It's $12.99 for the year. That would include the assessments, the job postings, the career page, right? You get unlimited assessments. You can send the assessment to your staff, right? We find out who would be best for your office. And you can post for, if you have a couple of different positions you're recruiting for, you can post for that. The premium, it's $17.88. That includes the video interview that I showed you earlier and text recruiting. It can also automate the stuff for you. You can have automation set up in that package. All right. And then finally, if you want to add the virtual hiring assistant, I would waive this initiation fee for you and take the $300 off. And then you'd have the $599 monthly, but you can cancel that whenever you want. So a lot of my agents will sign up for like the $12.99 or the $17.88, and they add this for a month or two, right? A lot more affordable than using a traditional recruiter. And I want you thinking of the cost of a bad hire too, right? And we don't charge per hire. We don't charge per candidate, per posting, okay? Let me go to some questions.
Okay, so the first one I have is regarding compensation. Oh my goodness, I'm in tongue-tied.
Yeah,
Regarding compensation and earning potential, what are
yeah.
you seeing more insurance agents' compensation look like? Salary, commission, or both?
Small salary. I see that the most, this is a really good question. The most common is small base and then tiered commission. Percentages go up based on what they're producing. So if they're producing low, they just make their small salary. And eventually, like, you don't even have to fire them. Like, it's just not going to work because their salary would be really low if they're not producing. And then bonuses based on if you have an agency bonus for certain companies. Maybe you have, if you're independent, certain carriers, you get bonuses throughout the year. They get a chunk of that, a piece of that. Same on the captive side. Now, independent's a little bit more tough because the tiered system, you could do flat tiered or tiered based on each carrier you write for. There can be some problems with that. So I would just say do a flat rate and then make it very incentive. I mean, if it's a really good employee, you almost want to like look at that check that you're writing at the end of the month and be like, oh my gosh, I'm giving this person a lot of money. But just know if you have a decent retention rate, you're getting all the renewals the next year and it's going to help you hit your bonuses, right? So small base, stronger commissions. And then, like I said, we can do market research for you and tell you exactly, like, based on your area, here's some compensation recommendations that we see works best.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Um, I know, I'm sure everyone here is like data people, right? That's always so cool to see the
For
comparison.
sure.
Okay, and then we had a bunch of questions about unlimited PTO and how that can work.
For sure. So we're a software company, right? We're not an insurance agency. However, um, and I just threw in my meeting link, by the way, for anyone who wants to schedule a call, just mention, please remember that you were on this webinar to get the discount. Schedule a call with me. By all means, I'd love to talk to you more about your recruiting efforts one-on-one. But in terms of, what was the question again? Oh gosh, now I'm
Oh,
reading another question.
it's okay. Unlimited PTO.
Yes. So unlimited PTO, the way we do it, and on the back end, we definitely have some processes in place, and I'm not the one to enforce it as one of the partners. I mean, I'm not on that side of it, but we give unlimited PTO. They can request as much as they want, but we definitely watch on the back end. Like if someone's not performing at a higher level, we look to see how much PTO they've requested. Plus, in the beginning, when they work there, there is probation periods. Um, so what you could do is after, the first 60 or 90 days, they don't have unlimited PTO. Or maybe even after the first year working for you, they don't. And it just creates an incentive for them to stay with you too, right? Um, hey, it's his or her 1 year anniversary. Now they have unlimited PTO, right? So again, we've had less people request it than before, which I thought was fascinating. But unlimited PTO has gone a long way for us. And I would say as long as you have rules and regulations on the back end, like some good information, I should just say like good protection in your handbook, unlimited PTO, like if they abuse it, then they're out. That's all there is to it. So unlimited PTO has worked really well for us.
Oh, okay. We just had Brian throw in a really great question. Okay.
Yeah.
For seasoned headhunters across other industries and disciplines, What are other similarities to recruiting tactics of other industries, sales professionals, and insurance agency owners? What are the differences? Brian, that is a detailed question.
Yeah, it's a really good one though. So
I
we're
know,
not a
it's
headhunter.
awesome.
We're not a headhunter recruiting company, although a lot of headhunters use us because we get higher exposure on Indeed and they just like our systems. I would say like headhunting too, like there's different forms of it. Like they could call current agencies or, be proactive and try to poach people. Like we don't do that. So it would be tough for me to answer that question. I do have friends that are in this line of work, but I'm not really able to answer it because I don't have all the information, especially in your area of what you'd be looking for on the differences.
We had a question about rewards for employees. What do you think flexibility versus surprise cash bonuses versus extracurriculars? What do you think or have seen in your experience is the
Yeah. And actually, I think Lori made a good point here. I mean, this is some of the stuff I was going to say. She
Mhm.
mentioned offering great flexibility, ability to work remote, extra time off, surprise cash bonuses, tickets to music venues, sporting events. I do like when agents right away find out what motivates them the most. Obviously, you learn more about maybe they have a significant other they care deeply about and they don't go on enough date nights. And then you give them a gift card to his or her favorite place, right? And say, "Hey, you have tonight off or you have the next day off." Like I've seen that. Like simple things like that are meaningful.
Mm.
Um I would say though in terms of like PTO, remote flexibility, those are the two biggest ones I see that's been a big trend. Um, Employee swag, I think is huge. Like if you invest money in, yeah, if you invest money in like cool shirts and let's just say it's Lululemon, right? A good brand and put your logo on it. Yeah, it's kind of expensive shirt and gear, but that person's probably going to love it. If they like working for you, they're going to wear it out. And the more they wear it out, the more your brand gets representative or represented. So I would say, employee swag it goes a long way too.
I was gonna say, I loved your comment too about like asking your best employees and what they enjoy about it. And I would say to everyone here, like, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised when you kind of
Yeah.
talk to your team. Maybe you're doing something that you thought was small, but means so much to them.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Um, And then I did have a couple questions about the remote. It looks like I already got some emails about it. I forgot to share that part, Gina. So if you don't
Oh, yeah.
mind, since we have some time, and I appreciate your feedback too. So the biggest thing about remote, right? What did COVID taught us that it does work for sure. Um, Even our company, like we went remote and I was freaking out. I had anxiety. I'm like, I can't do remote. Like I'm always in the office. Like, what do you mean? Right. But then 3 months later, our company's like, hey, do we want to come back in the office? And I'm like, my laundry's clean. You know, it's always clean. The house is clean. So people got used to it, and we realize it works. You just have to have the right setup. There's a bigger pool of people to choose from. You're able to be less picky. Licensing can be a lot quicker. Okay, and then the tax implications and cost of living. I mean, think about, if you hire someone in the state of Florida, they don't have the state income tax. If you're in San Diego and it's an expensive area, maybe it could be smart to hire someone in, let's just say, a really rural area of Montana, where the price of living is a lot lower. And there's certain states, right, that the tax implications that are different and they're just less expensive and um, might make sense to strategically look for certain people in certain states. Now, this is the video I was talking about. Okay. Jeremy Olson's a good friend of mine. If you guys don't know him, he's $72 million agency in Seattle, Washington, actually where Gina is. And they have RPOA. They have their own program. It's called Role Playing at the Olson Agency. We do a lot of webinars together. And then I asked him, I'm like, hey, do you want to do a webinar on remote? And he's like, well, why don't you watch this video? And he texted it to me and let me know what you think. And I watched it, and it's exactly what I was looking for because I have so many clients ask me different approaches on how to do remote. You know, because a lot of my clients, maybe they've gotten burned. And so now they're scared to do a remote again. That candidate they hired, so they thought it would work out, or the employee that was in the office then went remote. It didn't work out and it blew up in their face. But this video, really, it's an hour long and it gives you just so much good information on the processes they have in place, how to recruit. I mean, they're big Idealtraits users, so how to recruit through Idealtraits, the systems that they use, and they talk about a lot of the trial and error, like what to do and what not to do, how to incentivize the candidate, how to pay them. I mean, it really goes over everything for you. Okay. So if you want access to that video, email me, and I can send you that too, completely free. Definitely a good video. I watched it twice now, and I've learned something new even the second time I watched it. So good video if you want to consider remote, or you're doing remote right now and you just want to improve on your philosophies and obviously how to engage your staff more. Okay. Any other questions, Gina, that popped up?
No, I think you did a really great job. I think you answered everything.
I appreciate it. And Brian, I feel bad I didn't answer that question to the best of my ability. Yes, I'll answer that offline for you.
Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Jeff and Idealtraits, for coming here and doing this with us. Again, we'll be sharing all of this information and the recording at the end of this week. And a reminder, these events, we're never going to charge you guys for registration. We won't be charging our guests. We want this all to be free content so that you agents have access to tools that allow you to help your customers in the best way possible. So please thank Jeff for coming here and doing this with us. And then keep your eyes peeled for our next webinar. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Gina. Have a great one, guys. Have a great weekend. Have a good one.